Still put in a can.
First one, the second one.
I gotta get this done. It's driving me crazy.
It's two boy series.
I hate my living.
First and second.
First one?
Simon, we'll talk after here, okay?
All right. I'm sorry, late. We just have no place to do the daf over here. They lock every classroom. And outside is raining, so we're in Golos here. So we'll
Do it in your car like you normally do.
before they move, I would.
Where are you, Chia?
Yeah. What?
Where are you?
Where am I?
Yeah.
Shayoshav dining room right now.
What's the difference?
Bye.
Okay. So by Rav Zera, yeah, we're about 10 lines up from the bottom, 12 lines up from the bottom.
What daf? I'm sorry. I didn't know what daf you're up to. Vavam Rebbe, thank you.
Yeah, we switched Masechtas while you were gone, Naftali.
I know, I just realized I have to look. I had the the Beya open.
I know.
I'm looking for the Rosh Hashana.
For a couple months, right?
No.
Till after Shlosh.
A couple weeks.
Okay, so by Rav Zera, what about somebody who yarshins an animal? So Allah, it's if somebody is Mekadesh or Makdish an animal, not Mekadesh, it's Makdish an animal. I hope somebody's not Mekadesh an animal. All right, so somebody's Makdish an animal. So the kids have to bring it. So, but are they also ever Baal Tacher? Kisido neder Amar Rachmanu v'haloi neder. It says if somebody makes a neder and he didn't make the neder, Oiduma, meaning his father made the neder, so it's not his problem. Oiduma v'asa shama v'esim shama, says you have to bring it there. He's mechayiv to bring it. So it says if somebody's mechayiv to bring it, v'asa shama v'esim shama, you have to come over there and you have to bring it. So since he's mechayiv to do it, he's got to do it within 3 Yom Tov.
What is the Basa Shama Beheves Shama? What does that mean?
Meaning anytime you have a chiyuv to bring the
But he
korban.
doesn't have the Steve we just said.
He don't know he has a chiyuv to bring it. He didn't get himself into the jam. Right? He has to bring it only because he didn't make a nether. Meaning, do we go bust to the nether? If we go bust to the nether, then it's not his nether. He just has to be mekayim, his father's nether. But if it's out chiyuv to bring, that he's mechuyev to do. So then he's there.
Will this create a new Gimel Regalim, or does he go with the fathers?
So what?
Will this create a new Gimel Regalim, or does it go with the fathers?
So that would really be the shaila that the Gemara asked yesterday in yesterday's daf, no? That if, right, we had said that the bottom line is that they do combine. I think that would answer this too. Right? Yesterday we said if it got a mum, I'm sorry, no, we said it did not combine. Right? If it got a mum, right? So you replaced it. Did we say that? Was that yesterday? Or was that 2 days ago? I don't remember, but that's I think however we miyashav that shah, that would be this case too, right? Okay, so let's just see if you find it. Let me know. It says it should come from you, right? Probably Yorish. It comes to exclude a Yorish, so therefore a Yorish doesn't have to. Doesn't have an Isser Baltach. It still has to bring the animal. It doesn't have to do within 3 Yom Tov. We said that you need that for leket shikro pay, means all the grains that are forgotten in the field, that you have to give it out before 3 Yom Tov. So we say kari be'imach for kari be'mei imach. No, there's two words there. There's imach and mei imach. All right, so we can darshan out both. So the next shayla b'ayrav there, isha mahi. What about a woman? Is she in Baltacha? Do we say she's not chayiv in Riyah, which we'll see in Chagiga, that a woman is not chayiv in the carbon Riyah, the oilus Riyah? Meaning, do we say that she's not mechuyev to appear in the Beis Medrash on Yom Tov? She's chayiv in Simcha, but she's not chayiv in Riyah. So meaning the whole point we've been saying about Baltacha is how is it that you owe a carbon to Hashem and you came to his house, to the Beis Hamikdash, and you didn't bring a carbon for Yom Tovim? So, but a woman doesn't have that chiyuv. Or do we say no? She has a chiyuv of simcha, so she does have some form of have something to do with the karbonos.
Is only your time if you're in the mikdash?
No, that's the saying. You're not. But she does have a simcha from the carbon, from karbonos from the Yom Tov. So Memela, she would, since she's chayiv in karbonos of the Yom Tov, so then already bring up your neder already.
Does this have anything to do with
the minhag of some Sfardim that women don't go to shul? I just heard about this. There's a guy in our community that just moved here, that there's a minhag, a Sfardish minhag, that women don't go to shul.
Ever?
I have no
Ever,
idea.
or like just on like.
I wonder if it
Doesn't
has
sound
to do with it.
Doesn't sound like it.
I hear. I don't know, I think it's a good minute, Grata.
It's not
But
what the women of the, it's not what the women of the world hold.
Fair enough.
I don't know if
Not
that
my
would be
share,
based
though.
on this.
Force one likes to go to shul.
Okay, so Amalei Abayas says, why don't you just say that it's their that they are in simcha, meaning, right? That should be that they do have simcha. Some Megillah, they should be b'chayev. So they should be chayev. And so then Gemara asks, did Abayah really say that? She doesn't have a chiyuv simcha on her own. Her husband is misameacha. So Gemara says, he's going in the words of Reb Zera, not himself. According to himself, there wouldn't be. There is no chiyuv simcha according to Abayah. According to Reb Zera, right, that women are chayiv in simcha. Is there an iser about to for them or not? Yeah. So the Gemara doesn't answer that one. Right. Okay. So Ibailu next shot. The bechor me'emisay ma'anin loshana. So we know that a bechor, the kohen has to bring the bechor within a year. When do you count the year? Abaya says you start the year from the day it's born. It's from when it appears ready to be from the word ritzei, like we saw yesterday or 2 days ago, that a carbon is about getting Hashem to want it. Ritzei means to want it. So b'shash shenir lahartza, which is no less than 8 days. Since it's not roy to bring a makabit less than 8 days because you need it to be viable. So therefore, maybe the year count starts from 8 days. And there's no Machlokes in Abayah and Reb Zera and Rav Acha bar Yaakov. Hab Tam, one is talking about a Tam. Hab, one talking about Aleph now. Hab Balmum, and one is talking about a Balmum, right? Meaning it was born with the mum, right? And therefore, since you know it already has a mum, so therefore you can already shecht it from the first day. So the Gemara says, Balmum mimatzi achale. Are you allowed to eat a Balmum? Right? You have no idea whether it's meaning it's going really in a circle. How do you know that it's not? How do you know that it's not viable? That it's viable? Maybe it's not viable. And our answer is the kimlu base shekalu lechadashim. You know that it was a full-term pregnancy of the animal. So since you know it was a full-term pregnancy, you can assume that the animal was okay, and therefore you can be mocked of it. So I'm not sure why the Gemara had to get involved with the balmum. Why can't you just say one is talking about where he knew that it was a full term, and the other one says it was not a full term, right? Fine. Okay, bye. The first of Nissan is Rosh Hashana l'chadashim. Hey! Yeah, sorry. We're going to have to figure something out with this. Next week, we got to get some keys. Okay, so Torah about Be'echa b'Nissan. Right, on Be'echa b'Nissan, Rosh Hashana l'chadashim, u'liburan, u'lechumas shkalim. So on Echad B'Nisan, that is a new thing. Our Mishna doesn't say this, right? Our Mishna says the Rosh Chodesh of Nisan. It does not say Rosh Hashana l'chadashim for the months of the year, u'liburin, and for making the year a leap year, u'lechumas shkalim, and that's when you start taking the new shkalim, right? Because you give the shkalim before Purim in Adar, right? Am I frozen now? Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, good. Because everybody, the screens are all frozen. Okay. So, and then for shkalim, like we learned, you give all the shkalim in Adar, so then you start using the new shkalim in Nissan. Even for renting a house. Yeah, so these 4 things are not mentioned in our Mishnah, but it's mentioned in the Bryce. So the Chadashim binol, and how do you know that Nissan is the first for the Chadashim? Right? Tiksiv haChadosh lechem Rosh Chadashim. Rishonu lechem leChodshei Hashanah. It says this Chodesh, Nissan is the Rosh Chodesh for Chol Chodshei Hashanah. Dabru al Kol Adas Yisrael Leimor. Speak to all the Bnei Yisrael, saying, "Ve'esor leChodesh hazeh." It's talking about the Korban Pesach on the 10th of Nissan. V'yikolem ish sel lebeis avos. Everybody should take the lamb. Sel lebayis. V'hay lechem lemishmeres ad arba osayim. Watch it till the 14th. LeChodesh hazeh to this month for Shachtu Osay. I'm not sure why the Gemara had to bring all this. I was wrong with just bringing the first the first few words of Achodesh Elechem Rosh Chadash. Okay. When you're doing the daf, you're not complaining if they.
Rashi says.
What?
Rashi says, because we need. How do we know that this month was Nissan?
I'm saying, but that's what I mean. So that's the first line tells you that.
Chodesh Elechem Rosh Chodashim?
What?
Which first line?
No, but that's the Siv Shomer is Chodesh Aviv, right? Ezu Chodesh Yesh Ba Aviv Havayom is Nissan. That part, fine. That part you need, right? Anyways, because so Havayom is Nissan. Havayom is Nissan. Bekarila Rishon. It's called the first month of the year. So that's how we know that Nissan is the first month of the year. Maybe it should be Iyar. So you say being an Aviv Veleka. No, because you need the month that things get ripe, and that you don't have. Because in Iyar, the fruits are already ripe. Nissan is when they get ripe. Adar. Okay, so maybe it's Adar. So being a ripe.
You froze.
Yeah, are we back?
Yes, you're back now.
All right. Sorry about that. Okay, so I don't know where exactly it was low. Did you hear that? Did we do that part?
Yeah.
Because you need it to be the month that things become ripe. And you don't have that because they're already ripe in Nissan. Adar, maybe it's an Adar. So being on Roiva, you need the whole Roiva of the month to be where the fruits get ripe. And Adar is not going to be Roiva of the month. It's only going to be the end of the month. So the Gemara asks, Midi Roiv Aviv, but does it say Roiv Aviv? It just says Aviv. As long as there's some sort of fruits becoming ripe in there, that should be enough. So, okay, so we slug that up. So now we say that Nissan is not, this pasuk from Pesach is not a proof. On the 15th month, 15th day of the 7th month, when you gather your grain, where is the month that has asif, the gathering? Aviyam is at Tishrei. That's Tishrei. The Kafari Leshvi, and we call it the 7th month. So what's it the 7th month from? So if it's the 7th month, I mean Nissan is the first month. Maybe it means Mar Cheshvan. Umay Shvi Shvi Iyar. Maybe it's the 7th month to Iyar. Being on Asif Veleka, no, that needs to be a time when you normally gather your crops, and that you don't do in Mar Cheshvan. Beima Elul. Why don't we say maybe it's Elul? Umay Shvi Shvi Adar. Maybe it's the 7th month to Adar. Being on Roiv Asif Veleka, you need it to be a majority of the month of gathering, and then you won't have that because Elul is not a month that you do the whole month of gathering. Only the end of Elul would you gather. So Gemara asks the same kasha. Midi Roiv Asif. Does it say Roiv Asif? So again, we slug it up. So El Amar Rabbeinu, which is very interesting lashon. We don't learn it out from Torah's Moshe. We learn it out Midivrei Kabbalah, meaning from. It's not from Ta, it's from Nach, right? It's from Nach. The Yomi Esrim va'arba la'ashtei asa chodesh hu chodesh Shvat.
No, it's not from Kabbalah.
Because the pesukim the Gemara is going to bring now is from Kabbalah. It doesn't mean Kabbalah like the Kabbalah. Right, it means from Nevi'im, yeah. So the first one is in Zechariah. Right, so the person is Zechariah. It says in the Yoim Esrim Ba'arba Lashtei Asa Chodesh Hu Chodesh Shvat. Right, on the 11th month, the 24th of the month. So the 11th month is Shvat. That means the first month is Nisan. Right, but Tilokach Esther Al Melech Achashverosh Al Beis Malchusai. In the 10th month, which is Teves. So you see, we know that from Esther. Rav Kahana Amar Mehacha ba'arba l'chaydesh hatshi b'Kislev, on the 4th of the month of the 9th month, which is Kislev. Rav Acha bar Yaakov Amar. That pasuk is in also Zechariah. Right, Rav Acha bar Yaakov Amar Mehacha vayikru Seifrei HaMelech be'esahi b'chaydesh hashlishi u'chaydesh Siman, in the 3rd month, which is Chaydesh Siman. The order here is interesting. It starts with Zechariah, goes to Esther, then to Zechariah, and then back to Esther.
They're going in order of the months, no?
What?
Are they going in order of the months?
No.
Is it going? Well, no. It started with the 11th month.
Right.
So Shvat, then it went to Teves.
Right.
So there's no
Then it
relevance.
went
So it's
to
interesting. The right?
Sivan, and
Unless it's the order of the Chashivas of the Amoraim. Maybe. I don't know.
who's saying it?
Maybe. I don't know what the pecking order would be. That may be Shmuley. Maybe Shmuley would know that. Anyways, Rav Acha bar Yaakov Amar Mehacha v'yikru Seifrei HaMelech be'esahi b'chaydesh hashlishi u'chaydesh Siman. Rav Ashi Amar Mehacha hipil pur hu ha'gayrol l'fnei Haman. Right? Miyayim liyayim u'mechaydesh l'chaydesh shneim aser hu chaydesh Adar. So that these are all telling you that it's told them. I say Mehacha b'chaydesh harishon hu chaydesh Nissan, or we say from the 1st month, which is chaydesh Nissan. The kula my time alone in my. So how come all these shittas didn't learn it from this one? Right? It says b'chaydesh harishon hu chaydesh Nissan.
So it's direct as you can get it.
Yeah. So how come they didn't learn from that? Dilma, my rishon the milsei. Maybe it doesn't mean the first of the from the rishon from the 1st month. Maybe it means from when the whole story happened, from when the whole Purim story happened. That's what it was, right? But it doesn't necessarily mean from the beginning of the month, the beginning from the 1st month of the year. Again, we're saying rishon. It means maybe rishon from the beginning of the year. Is it too loud in the background here now?
It's not going to get less. 8:57.
Still
They're coming
okay?
in here at 9.
Okay, well, let's go for 2 more minutes. We're gonna have to take a break to shift out of here because the kids are coming. Betana di done Mishnayim. Betana di done. How come our Mishna doesn't say this? Right? Our Mishna says all the things that Nissan starts with. It doesn't mention for the months. Betana di done b'shanim kamari b'chadashim like kamari. Because our Mishna is talking about years. It's not talking about months. Grada wants. Okay, we'll stop this. But there's a whole diyun in the pesukim whether you have to call Nissan by the 1st month, meaning a chaydesh is alachem Rosh Chodashim, is that a chiyuv? Meaning when you write on your checks, right? If you write on your checks, what? No, but if you write chaydesh Nissan, meaning that's supposed to be the 1st month. So when you write on your check, now what are we in? Over. So if you write 10 on your check,
You're not supposed to do, right?
well, that's the shayla.
Isn't it better
If
to
you do
write
10,
out the month?
yeah, so some say you should write out the month and not write 10, because by 10 that shows that you're not keeping the months according to the Yiddish, meaning Nissan's supposed to be 1. Yeah, so some say that that's what it is, right? And Megillah, by writing 1, that doesn't go.
I just want to check. Anytime you write 10.
Anytime you write
Anytime
any
you write,
months, you
like,
shouldn't
text,
write the
you write-
numbers. You shouldn't write the numbers. But some say no, it's not an issue because you kind of call the Yiddish months. And Moshe Sternbach says
I mean, I
you
shouldn't
call
go by
the
my
Yiddish-
English birthday either. But we do.
what?
You shouldn't go by your English birthdays either.
Okay, but
But
then
we
you want to
do.
go by your birthday. By the way, here he's saying that it's not a big. You could call it Goyish month. You could say today is October. Who cares? To call this month and say Mar Cheshvan is call it the 1st month. Let's say that's the issue. It's only issue in the Jewish month. It's not in the Nazi. Okay, well, I'm going to shift. I'm going to just shift out of here to. Hold on. Sorry.
Thank you.
It's mamish nice to see that the reception in Shar Yoshev hasn't gotten any better since I was first there in 2004.
Yeah. Still too loud in here. People in there. I don't know what happened to our rest of our family. See if it's raining. It's not raining now. It's not raining now. I think it's still too loud. No? Where? It's not. Someone should just stand outside. All right. I apologize about this.
By the benches?
I think they're going to be wet. I'm going to have to stand.
Think so?
Hey, yeah, yeah. Still drizzling. Still drizzling. Ay, yeah, yeah. I think there's people in there.
People are cute though.
That's what. Oh, the kids are not in there. One more minute. One more try. Ah, there's Marcha. I think we're good now.
Hey, Tzviakov.
They're leaving. They're leaving. They're leaving. All right. Bye.
Hey, wait, Tzviakov, before you start, if we're so concerned about Yiddish months and all that stuff, but why are we using month names that aren't originally Jewish names? No,
They're not. They're Aramaic names.
Yeah.
Right? That's a whole thing in the history of why we stick to the names. They say because there's something about that they made the names in Bavel, right? They made the names in Bavel, and they wanted as a zikaron for the Golos Bavel that Hashem saved us from. I know there's something out there like that.
Go ahead next week. Well, we were just arranged with Rebbe Lon.
Oh, yeah, okay, great. All right, good, thank you. Yeah. Anyways, that's what I think they say. Agav, before when we're waiting for 1 more minute, I forgot to say that I saw. It was Yadua that the Chafetz Chaim, when he had guests on Friday night, didn't sing Shalom Aleichem or Reishis Chaim because he held that the guys that are eating there are aniyin, and you may be over on Baal Ta'achar, but by withholding the food from them, right? You're pushing off the food from them, which I'm not so sure that applies nowadays to our guests, but whatever. That's what he had said supposedly. Okay, let's go back.
So you didn't sing Shalom Aleichem either?
He sang it after they served the food, and then they said he sang
The
it.
first place.
Okay, Uli Buran, yeah, on the first wide line. I'm sorry, but I will hold it late. I know it out. Uli Buran, Uli Buran Nissan Meninon, right? So the Gemara asks, Buran means when they decide to make a leap year. So we counted from Nissan Vatanya Ein Ma'avrim Hashanah Rosh Hashana. You're not allowed to decide whether you're making it into a leap year before Rosh Hashana. And if you do make it into a leap year, it's not considered a leap year. But because of Tchak, you can do it. If you're really desperate, you can be ma'aver. You can decide that you make it into a leap year after Rosh Hashana. But the only month you add is Adar. You can't add any other month, right? So you see that. What do you mean by being ma'aber Nissan? How could that be? It can only be Adar. So what it means is when the end of the leap year, the last leap year has to be, meaning the last month that you can make a leap year is before Nissan. Once you hit Nissan, you can no longer make the leap year. That's what the Bryson means. It's nan. Right? They said Eidos that they would be ma'aver the year every Adar until Purim. My time in the Mandam Purim. But how come only till Purim? Why not till Nissan? Since we know that the halacha is that you can ask shaylas on Pesach from 30 days, they're going to be mezalzel and chametz, which is quite interesting. Because what's going to happen? Since they know that they're already supposed to start asking shaylas and Pesach from Adar, now you're going to be ma'abra the shana. They're just going to say, no, we've been asking shayla since Adar. We're not going to keep the second. Who says that you should make it into an Ibrio? Who says you make it into a leap year? And they're not going to keep Pesach. They're not going to keep Pesach. They're going to keep the wrong Pesach. So therefore, only up until Purim. Once Purim is there, they say you got to tell everybody. If you didn't tell everybody you're being ma'abra, we're afraid that they're not going to keep the Ibrio, right?
It's Yaakov.
Yeah.
They say that Rebbe Le'ega had to rush. He did everything with so many kavanas and all machshavas that he had to rush his Purim Suda. Otherwise, he wouldn't eat his matzahs by chatzos.
You did what? He rushed?
He rushed his Purim Suda because otherwise, Lyle say that he wouldn't be able to eat his matzahs by chatzos. With all this
because
kavanas and
because
everything.
Of the 30 days?
His akanis and everything.
I mean, I hear that.
So,
Okay.
what exactly does it mean that after Purim, all of a sudden, the year crept up on them? They didn't know it was still winter?
So if you look at the sugyas, it seems in Sanhedrin,
We lost
a
you.
lot of times it was a last minute decision. You lost me?
Now we got you.
You're back.
He's in the dining room where he was. Where were you sitting? He told me he's not coming here to learn with us because he didn't want you to lose him.
He wasn't there.
He wasn't there. Yeah, he's sitting right where we were sitting.
I went there and he wasn't there.
Yeah. He stayed down where we were so that his kid doesn't get lost. And now hey.
Will you get back to the Purim Torah, please?
There you go. Okay. Anyway, so what are we saying? So anyway, but it's interesting in the psychology of what people are going to think. They say, listen, you already told us that Pesach's going to be a month from now. If you start telling us, once it's in the psyche, according to the Shita, once it's in their psyche that Pesach's in a month, that's it. I don't know if the women are involved in this or not, but this is the way it is, and don't start changing on me now. That's what this Shita is worried about, right? Ve'idach, that's the right. And the other Shita made the yadiyah that the Shata Ma'avarta bechushben Natalia Milsa. Everybody knows that it's done according to calculations and it's a last minute thing. The Savri Chushbenahu the Loisalik Lularabanan Adin, and the rabbis didn't figure it out until now. Right? So okay, so that's what that's the Machlokes until when the maximum time to be ma'aber the shana. Tana di done, baschala kamairi, bafsaka loy kamairi, and our Tana, meaning how come our Tana doesn't talk about leap years until Nissan? He's talking about because our Tana is talking about the beginnings. This is the end. Meaning the way we're answering it is that when it means that Nissan is for leap years, it means that's the end. That's the latest time you can do leap years, right? And our Mishna is referring to the first time you could do things, not the last time you could do things. Fine. Well, the Truma shkalim, that's the next thing in the Brisa. That Truma shkalim, you start on Nissan. I mean, Nolan, so how do you know? So Rabbi Yashi, Amakros, Zois Oilas Chaydesh B'Chadshei L'Chadshei Hashanah. It says this is the Eilas Chaydesh B'Chadshim V'Chadshim Hashanah. Amr Torah Chadesh V'Havei Carbon Mitruma Chadashim. It's a new month. Bring all the carbonas from the new money that came in. V'Gamri Shana Shana Min Nissan. And we learn out Shana Shana from Nissan. The Siv Rishon Hu Lachem L'Chadshei Hashanah. That it's the first of all the months of the Shana. V'Ligmar. So that's it. So we learn out Shana Shana. Right. So just like Shana over there means Nissan, so to here means Nissan. So when I ask, V'Ligmar Shana Shana Mi Tishrei. Tichsid Mereishis Hashana. Tishrei also says Shana. So maybe it means Tishrei they should start with the shkalim. So my answer is done in Shana Sheyesh Ima Chadashim, Shana Sheyesh Ima Chadashim. We done a Shana that has with it months from a Shana that has with it months. They ain't done, meaning the pasuk says both months and year. So that's more of a direct Zera Shava. They ain't done in Shana Sheyesh Ima Chadashim, Shana Sheyesh Ima Chadashim, and we don't judge a Shana that has Chadashim from a Shana that doesn't have Chadashim. Fine. So I'm going to read on Shmuel. Karbanos tzibur abayin be'echad b'Nisan. All karbanos tzibur that come on the first of Nisan, mitzvah lahavi min achadash. It's mitzvah to bring it from the new money. V'mhevi min hayashan. If you bring it from the old money, yatza your yatza l'shechisar mitzvah. You're going to be missing out on a mitzvah. It means it's a mitzvah to bring from the new money. If you didn't, okay, fine. Tanya mihachi karbanos tzibur abayin be'echad b'Nisan. The karbanos tzibur that come on the first of Nisan. Mitzvah lahavi min achadash, right? It's a mitzvah to bring it from the chadash. V'mhevi min hayashan yatza. Your yatza l'shechisa mitzvah missing mitzvah. Yachid shesnada mishalayik sharon. And if a person is bringing his own private carbon, it's kasher b'vacha yimsarim l'tzibur, as long as he gives it over to the tzibur. Yeah, so when it says pshita, of course he gives it over to the tzibur. It's going to be fine. No, so my answer is now the same. Leicha shema. On Dama Beis now, maybe he's not going to give it over. Rashi says Yafa Yafa means belev shalom. Maybe he's not going to give the money over to the tzibur belev shalom. Kamash Malan, that we're not worried about that. Okay, so the Tana done. How come our Tana doesn't mention that Nissan is the beginning of bringing shkalim? Kivan the Ketani imhevi yatza leipsikale, right? Since we said that if you did bring it after Nissan with old money, your yatza. So then the Mishna is not talking about that. The Mishna is talking about all or nothing cases. And this case is not an all or nothing case, because if you did bring it from the old money, you're yaitzer, right? So that's what the Mishna didn't include it. Those that say even for rentals, they end at Nissan, meaning all rentals end at Nissan. This is quite a scam that an agent can pull here. So because it says Tana Rabban Hamaska by Zachaver L'Shana. If somebody rents a house to his friend for a year, so according to the Tanakama, it's your standard year. If I rented it today on October 16th, so then I get it till October 16th, 2022. Is that
halacha?
Right?
Is that halacha?
What? Well, let's see. So Vimar Lashana Zu, and if he says I want it for this year, Afilu Loyaman Ela Be'echad Ba'adar. Even if he just rented it from Echad Ba'adar, Kivan Shagi Yom Echad B'Nisan, also Leishana. Right? So if a guy says, right, so if you phrase it that you're getting the rental for this year, right, then it ends at Nisan. Right? And that's all. Even though the guy thought he's going to get rented for all.
Let's say he doesn't say anything. I'm renting you the apartment.
Oh, so let's see. Let's see back. If I feel a mandam Yom Echad B'Shana Chashuv Shana. So what about the mandam that says that one day of the year is considered a year, right? Naftali line or halavai, they would say that for the avela, so you only have to daven once and that's it, right? But we don't, right? So even the mandama that says,
I think your ears would appreciate that.
No, we're fine with it, right? But I feel the mandama Yom Echad B'Shana Chashuv Shana. A person is not renting less than 30 days. See, so Zev says this, the Gemara is saying the 30 days is a minimum. Right? When the guy says I'm renting it for a year or 2 a year, and this, then you could start the fights. I'm
renting you the apartment. Well, how long is it? Some renting is how long?
So from here it's mashma just 30 days. From this month, it depends again. It depends how you word the contract. If you say for what's the lashon? Lishana, right? But if you say Lashana Zu, then it's just this year, not for a year, it's for this year. Okay, so then your rental is over with. Right? I don't know if we pass on like any of these. I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't think we do. I think the halacha with all these things goes buster what the norm is. Meaning what's the norm of the society that you're in?
During Corona, they were leaving Eretz Yisrael, right? The young couples left Eretz Yisrael, and the Baldirs wanted them to pay rent.
Yes, it was a big issue. It was a big Corona issue. Yeah, that was a.
And
but there it had.
And they let them out of it. They let them out.
Right, because that was based on something else. That was based on who suffers if there's a catastrophe in the city, who gets the loss. Meaning they could say it was a catastrophe in the city. Is it my loss? Is it yours? You as the renter lost out. I'm leaving now. That was the whole deal with the Corona. Whose loss is it? Okay, whatever it is. But if you so you could. It depends on what lashon you use. But either way, the point of the brisa is that Nissan is the cutoff date. So when it says Ve'ema Tishrei, maybe she Rosh Hashana for Tishrei. Stam. So Gemara says Stam ki agar inish beis lekulu you might say shamim agar. No, when somebody rents something for winter time, he doesn't plan on moving in the winter. It's bad weather, so it can't be until Tishrei. You would never stop at Tishrei. That's when the weather starts getting bad. Okay. So then we have two things. So the Tanakama of this brisa doesn't mention this, and our Mishna doesn't mention this. The Tanakama the brisa, the Tana they done, but Nissan Nami Mishkach Shkiach Kitri. If they hold no, a person will rent. Maybe even in Nissan he's going to want it for a lot of months because sometimes there is bad weather after Nissan, and he wouldn't necessarily want to be stuck without an apartment. Yeah. Fine. This rental things is how long does a security deposit last for? How far in advance do you have to give notice to throw somebody out, to not to throw somebody out? The way I understand is that it goes with what the minig Medina is. What's the norm? You got to keep whatever is expected.
How much notice you have to give a person?
Yeah. So it goes with what's the normal thing. Yeah. So Echad Be'el Rosh Hashana L'Maisa Behema. So Echad Be'el is Rosh Hashana L'Maisa Behema. Right. So money. Who's the mandomer in the Mishna? Rameir. That's going to go to Rameir. Tani Rameir. Reimer Be'echad Be'el Rosh Hashana L'Maisa Behema. Maisa Behema is Echad Be'el. Meaning again, what is Maisa Behema? So Maisa Behema is that you have to give all your Maisa up until then. Meaning any animals that are born after that go towards the next year's Maisa. Right? For the regalim money, so okay. So the first shita is Rameya. Second shita is who? The regalim money. Who's for Yom Tovim? Reb Shimon. That's going according to Reb Shimon, right? Which we said Reb Shimon holds that Baal Ta'achar has to be in order, right? To be over on Baal Ta'achar, it's Pesach, then Shavuos, then Sukkot. So Ema Seifa, Rebbe Lazar, Reb Shimon, I remember Echad B'Tishrei, and Rebbe Lazar and Reb Shimon say that Ma'aser Behem is Echad B'Tishrei. So Reisha B'Seifa, Reb Shimon, U'Metziyasa Remeir, does it make sense that we're saying that the Reisha of the Mishnah and the Seifa of the Mishnah going to Reb Shimon, and the middle is Remeir? Right? It doesn't make sense. So Rabbi Yosef, the whole Mishnah is Rebbe. As we know, Rebbe wrote the Mishnayos. But Nasiv La Alib the Tanoi Beregalim. The Tanoi, and he went with different Tanoim, Beregalim, Savarlok Reb Shimon. By Yom Tif, he held like Reb Shimon, reigning by Baal Ta'achar. Ubemaiser Behema Savarlok Reb Meir. Right, so it was Rebbe's Shita, but he held like different Shitas. Right? In one place he held like Reb Meir, in one place he held like Reb Shimon. It shouldn't say there's 4 Rosh Chadashim. He should have said 5, 4 and 5, because there's an extra one. So Gemara answers, it's 4 according to all opinions. Rameir Arba, According to Rameir, it's arba dal regalim. You and subtract regalim because he doesn't hold regalim as the first. And Rab Shimon arba dal ma'aser behema. You take away ma'aser behema, meaning it's always 4. It's just a matter of which opinion you're going to, right? Meaning if it's only going to be 5. The Gemara is asking, Yochi arba is chamisha havet is 5 because you have to add El and Tishrei and whichever month you're going to go with Baal Ta'achar. So he's saying, no, it's always going to be 4. According to Rameir, it's going to be 4 because he doesn't go with the Regalim. And according to Shimon, it's going to be 4 because he's not going Ma'aser Behema. What it means is that there's 4 months, and in those months are many Rosh Hashana, right? So, meaning because he means that this, what do you call it? In Nissan, it's going to have 2. So therefore, it's going to be considered 1 because it's both in the same month. Which Gemara is going to ask, the 16th of the month is considered Rosh Hashana for Aimer, right? Because that's when we bring the Korban Aimer, right? Shishi B'Siva, on the 6th day of Siva, which is Shavuos, is Rosh Hashana L'Shtei Alechem. That's the special carbon. You bring the 2 loaves of bread on Shavuos. So the Rava listni Shisha, the Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak listni Chamisha. So then, according to Rava, it should say there's 6, and according to Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak, it should say 5, right? Because again, Rava had said that it's really divrei hakol, and each mandamar says his own thing. But here you have a new one. That's no machlokes. And Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak says it's 4 months that have 4 Rosh Hashana. So now you have 2 more months according to Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak. So we're only counting things that happen at night. Things that don't happen at night are not counted, right? So meaning these things all happen during the day, right? The Aimer is during the day, the Shtei Alechem is during the day. So we're talking about Rosh Hashanahs that fall out at night. So not during the day. So Regalim doesn't start at night, because when does the Baal Ta'achar clock start ticking? Right? It starts ticking when you can start bringing karbanos, which is not till the morning of Pesach. So the Gemara answers, since you had to bring it from before, so then that's already considered like you were chayiv to bring it already at night. Yovel doesn't start at night, and it's counted. He holds that the Yovel doesn't start Yom Kippur, it starts on Rosh Hashana, and the night of Rosh Hashana. Here's a different term. It's only things that happen automatically. Something that you have to do, like Kachashim, you don't count. So the Omer, you have to bring the Korban Omer. And Shtei Alechem, you have to bring it. So we're only talking about automatic Rosh Hashanahs that happen with the clock, right? When Shkia hits or Tzeis hits, Rosh Hashanah by night, Tu B'Shvat by night, whatever it is, then that's when the clock. There's nothing that has to be done. Also, Regalim, but Regalim midi to Talib and Ma'isa v'Kachashiv. So Regalim has to do a Ma'isa. What's the Ma'isa? You can't bring your carbon until the carbon tamid is brought. So that's a Ma'isa, right? You can't come Pesach in the morning and say, hey, I don't want to be over on this in the minimum of any sort of Baal Ta'achar. I want to bring my carbon. Say, hey, buddy, you can't bring it yet. We first need to bring the carbon tamid, then you can bring it. So you see that the Regalim Baal Ta'achar is tali in somebody doing something.
What mice again?
Carbon tamid. You can't bring your carbon. You can come and say, hey, this is my last Yom Tov. If I don't bring it now, I'm going to be over about Ta'achar. So say you got 8 days. No, I want to bring it right now. You can't bring it now. We have to first bring the carbon tamid. No karbanos were allowed to be brought before the carbon tamid. So that means the mitzvah Baal Ta'achar can't start, or the chiyuv Baal Ta'achar, whichever way you want to call it, can't start until somebody does a ma'isa. Meaning just like the carbon aimer doesn't start until you bring the carbon aimer, and the shtei alechem until you bring the shtei alechem. So, which we said is not counted in our Mishna, because our Mishna is only talking about things that happen automatic, not things that have to do a ma'isa. So the regalim, you also have to do a ma'isa. You have to bring the carbon tamid. So he said, no, Baal Ta'achar memelachayil. Let's chal on it. Once the day, Rashi says, Mishakidash hayoyim, once the day becomes holy, then your Baal Ta'achar kicks in. Right? So it says, right? Yovel doesn't start till they blow that shofar on Yom Kippur. Once they blow the shofar on Yom Kippur, then it starts. So my answer is Rabbi Shmuel ben Yochai, Rabbi Yochanan ben Breika. It's going according to Rabbi Shmuel ben Yochai, Rabbi Yochanan ben Breika, where we said it goes from Rosh Hashana. Rav Ashi Amar Arba Rosh Hashanah Heim Shem Abba Arba Rosh Chadashim. Rav Ashi says it's 4 Rosh Hashanah that fall on Rosh Chodesh. So what's the obvious kasha? What do you mean be'echad b'shvat ke'be'shamay? That means you're going with echad, right? The Gemara, Rav Ashi is saying that this teretz is the third teretz here. That the Gemara, the Mishna is only referring to things that happen on Rosh Chodesh. Okay, that's very nice, but Beis Hillel says that Tu b'shvat is Rosh Chodesh, not Shvat, so it's not on Rosh Chodesh. So does that mean that Rav Ashi is paskening like Beis Shammai? Because Beis Shammai says that the Rosh Hashana for Ilanos is on Rosh Chodesh, but Beis Hillel says not only that, we know we don't pass like Beis Shammai. Hachi Gomer. So one answer is this is what the Gemara, this is what the Mishnah is saying. Shloisha l'divrei hakol. 3 days are going according to everybody, and be'echad b'shvat is machlokes Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel. So that's how we understand 4. 3 of the 4 is Rosh Chodeshes, and then the 4th is actually machlokes Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel. Okay, a good tvach. It's actually, if you look at the second Tosfos, it's just interesting. The second Tosfos acts as a Rashi, which is why it's in brackets. It says Pirish Bitmiya. It's not so common that you see a Tosfos say Pirish with a Tmiya, telling us how to make a laning. Anyways, all right. A good tvach. Sorry for all the delays. Yeah, go ahead.
I mamish learned the Shem Mishmul Erev Shabbos that fits in with this Gemara perfect about the night.
What's that?
He's talking about bris milah because Avraham Avinu had the bris this parsha. So he says, right. What's pshat in the vachnach? He says a vachnach because the whole first 7 days the baby is not called an oral because there was no chi of milah. The vachnach that night he's called an oral because it's the 8th day, but you can't do a milah on him. So the vachnach is to take away the tsar, is to do something epis. Look, I've been a milah even though you physically can't do the milah. That's why it's the night of that night.
So you're saying so night?
Yeah. He
Very
says because
good.
He said, oh, now all of a sudden the guy becomes an oral. He wasn't an oral before. Now he's an oral, and you can't do nothing about that. He's an oral.
So that's the shot in the bottom.
Yeah.
I like it. Very nice. It's a nice shot. Very good.
Yeah.
Very nice. Very
Oh, to you.
All right, I get the vach.
All right. Good talk.
All
right.
Good luck. Thank you.
Okay, sag es uns.
Prices.